Hi, I'm Glenn Theal, your host of Nature's Glen, New to Dogs. Joining me is my ever-faithful companion, Lexus. During episodes of this series, I'll be exploring a number of common topics that new dog owners regularly face when they bring home their loving companion. I hope you will find the subjects helpful and meaningful to you and your dog. Have you ever had a moment when life just took a wild turn? Sometimes these events can be for the better, but more often than not, they can be for the worse. I'm sure a lot of dog owners can relate to that sinking feeling when some unexpected mishap occurs. So it's best to be prepared for when it does. Let's go and find out how. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Nature's Glen, New to Dogs, where I will be discussing pet first aid and how it can support your dog's health and well-being. Imagine going out for an enjoyable time with your dog, not having any concern in the world. You're enjoying a gentle breeze, the warmth of the sun, and playfulness of your loving companion, only to have chaos suddenly erupt, shattering the peace and plunging you into uncertainty. That fateful day will finally have arrived where your dog is seriously injured. When calamity strikes, being prepared and not panicked is the best solution available to any dog owner. Not only is your dog likely to be in distress, but so will you. Having a plan of action as well as the appropriate supplies will increase your chances of a positive outcome. Depending on personal circumstances and a dog's activity level, owners may wish to take a dedicated pet first aid course. Although first aid treatment learned in courses intended for humans is valuable and may at times cross over to canines, it's best to be educated in the specifics of the intended patient. Pet first aid courses are offered by a number of organizations. Although Red Cross and local SPCAs generally offer such a course, others are also available. It's best that owners search locally for courses offered. Once you have taken a pet first aid course, you will need to put together a kit filled with supplies to be used in case of emergency. Instructors of the course you take will often recommend pre-packaged all-in-one kits, and these can be found in many local stores or online. Although these kits provide much of what you will hopefully never need, they often only provide small samples or limited quantities, and once certain supplies run out, they'll need to be replaced. Sometimes it's just easier to put together your own. Let's discover what's needed. I've put Lexus away for this part of the episode, and I've gathered some of the most common materials owners need to make their very own pet first aid kit. In doing so, I've organized the materials into basic groups. On my right, I have compiled dressings and bandages. In the middle, I have personal safety equipment. To my left, I have medicines and chemicals. And out in front, I have miscellaneous items and tools. I'd like to mention that I'm not sponsored by, nor do I promote any of the brands shown on this table. These just happen to be available at my local retailers. Let's start by looking at personal safety equipment. Even though your pet is injured and requires immediate care, your personal health and safety is paramount and needs to be protected. In this group I have protective gloves, either nitrile or latex, which are important for protecting yourself and your pet from biologic contamination, and protective eye covering, which is important for protecting yourself from spatters and airborne droplets. Now that you know what you need to protect yourself when applying first aid to your pet, let's take a look at items you may need for managing wounds. In this group, I have dressings and bandages. For dressings, I have rolled gauze and gauze pads, which are essential for cleaning, stopping bleeding, and preventing infection. Adhesive and non-adhesive compresses, which are designed to protect wounds, control bleeding, and facilitate healing. cotton balls, cotton swabs, and flat cotton wipes, which are not only essential to cleaning and disinfecting, but are also ideal for applying antiseptic solutions, creams, and ointments. Of course, it's necessary to hold dressings in place. For this, I have gathered elastic bandage, waterproof tape, and bitter bandage. These also help reduce swelling, stabilize injuries, secure medical devices in place, and in the case of dogs, discourage unwanted attention to injured areas. Let's look at the third group of items that includes chemicals and medicines. Here I have alcohol prep pads that are primarily used to disinfect unbroken skin around wounds or to sanitize small tools like tweezers. Hydrogen peroxide that can be used as a topical antiseptic for minor cuts, scrapes, and burns. It can also be used as an emetic in dogs, but should only be done so under the direct guidance of a veterinarian or pet poison control official. Neutral saline, which can be used to gently clean and irrigate wounds. It's also ideal for flushing debris from eyes, rinsing out nasal passages, and cleaning piercings. Styptic pencil or powder that's used to stop minor bleeding from shallow cuts and broken blood vessels in the nails of pets. And antibiotic skin ointment, which is used to prevent infections and minor cuts, scrapes, and burns by inhibiting or killing bacteria. Lastly, I have a group of miscellaneous tools and items that are also important to have in a pet first aid kit. This group includes a medicine dropper or syringe that can be used for irrigating wounds and administering oral medications. Tweezers and scissors for holding, removing, and cutting items. An emergency thermal blanket, which is used to prevent and treat hypothermia. And a cold pack that can be applied to reduce pain, swelling, and inflammation. Please keep in mind that this video is only meant for informational purposes and is not a substitute for a licensed first aid course. The products shown should only be used by those who have been properly instructed. Unfortunately, occasions do occur where injuries are more serious and additional expert help is needed. When this occurs, owners need to call for help from dedicated animal service professionals. Depending on the circumstance, be sure to have contact information for the nearest emergency veterinary clinics, local SPCAs, and wildlife control agencies on hand. Only call 911 for an animal emergency if there is an immediate life-threatening situation for the animal or a risk to public safety. Dogs are amazing, loving companions and provide people with so many different things, but they're also dependent on owners to provide proper care, especially when ill or injured. Remember, it's your responsibility to look after them appropriately at all times. If you found this episode helpful and informative, check out other videos in this series and be sure to like and subscribe. Lexus and I look forward to your joining us again to examine other common topics likely to be experienced by new dog owners. Until next time, be like a dog with two tails.